Welcome to Eye On Redcliffe, the show that's all about Redcliffe.
I'm Jared and this is Ash. Welcome to today's special edition from the former heart of the peninsula, the Suttons Beach Pavilion.
And the gaping chest wound that now sits in its place.
But first, how did we get here?
The Suttons Beach Pavilion's story began in 1865 when Reverend John Sutton moved to the area and purchased 225 acres of land in Redcliffe. The land around Suttons Beach was named in his honour. The first pavilion was a small kiosk which was built in 1912. In 1937 this gave way to a larger pavilion which in some parts remained right up until the end. Over the years the structure underwent many changes, culminating in the pavilion we all love and remember like it was only bulldozed yesterday. The beginning of the end for our pavilion began in 2019 when Council embarked on a $500,000 structural renovation. Early engineering reports indicated that the building was in poor condition and was likely approaching the end of its service life. In 2021 the council committed to demolition and allegedly issued notice to the leaseholders that their lease would not be renewed. However, they were ultimately given a 6-month extension on the lease which would end in the lead up to the 2022 federal election. It was at this point that the public were made aware of the pavilion's impending fate. In response to predictable public outrage over the shock news, the council committed to another structural review of the pavilion, and after several hundreds of thousands of dollars, it was again decided that the pavilion was to go. Sitting vacant for over a year, she finally gave way to the demolition crews in March 2024.
So as you can see behind us, the contractors have rolled in and they've already demolished the pavilion. What's left looks pretty much like a quarry, preparing the ground ready for the new design. So what are your thoughts on the council's approach to this project?
It really surprised me just how out of touch the council were in early 2022 that they thought they could just demolish it without there being any appreciable backlash or community outrage, of which there was copious amounts.
Yeah.
And I don't think they realised how much we loved this place. And like you said in your opener, this is the beating heart of Redcliffe.
Yeah. I mean, ever since I've been coming to Redcliffe, and it's been a number of years now, it's always been the culture. The culture centred around this area, Suttons Beach. Everyone knows Suttons Beach. It's just like the lagoon. It's a landmark. It's one of the graces of the peninsula. And to see it just abandoned, it's almost a metaphor for the culture itself, where the government doesn't have much regard for what was and is trying to impose its own upon people. That may be a bit of a strong view, but I certainly think that we've lost something by losing the pavilion in this instance.
Absolutely. It was never the Sydney Opera House, but it was on that spectrum.
Yeah.
It had that level of,
It was ours.
Yeah, it had icon status.
Yeah.
And we just lost it. Now, maybe we did need to lose it.
Yep.
Maybe it really was, beyond its service life and had to be condemned, which takes us through to its replacement. The initial council plan for the hallowed ground upon which the Grand Dame of the peninsula once sat included a public toilet and a tar-sealed area for food trucks. This was naturally received in a manner befitting such a vacuous proposal. We then saw an equally uninspiring plan for a community centre and hospitality training facility, creating in the process a dead zone in the once thriving Suttons Beach. Moreton Bay Regional Council eventually began to understand that the pavilion required a worthy replacement and announced a nationwide design competition to be judged by a panel of, quote, architectural design experts, unquote. The winning design comes from Lars Nemo Architects, an architecture firm headquartered in Sydney. The winning design is a radical departure from the Art Deco facade of our now demolished Pavilion, and has been met with a public response which one could charitably describe as being mixed and devoid of enthusiasm. So, what did you think of the new design?
Well, I've looked at the report that came from the community survey, and I don't think the architect has captured what the community want from that survey. There's no pastel colours, there's bright colours included, and the community was really looking for an Art Deco style design, and I don't see that. I see big bold lines that I'm a lay person. I am not an architect. That to an architect may well be Art Deco, but to the person on the street, I don't think it is. I don't think it screams that era. I don't think it screams Art Deco to the lay person.
Yeah, see, I'm not an architect either, so I lack the language to describe what I'm seeing, and that's what the layman is. He can still see things, but he lacks the language, and so I don't see the Suttons Beach Pavilion in that new design. The old girl does not shine through in any way. I cannot feel her spirit in that new design. It doesn't belong here. It looks like it belongs on the Gold Coast, Surfers Paradise, Cavill Avenue, something like that.
So what do you think would belong here? What do you think the community is looking for?
Well, I'm thinking Bayside, Seaside, English Seaside Village. It's something, a little bit ornate. And the Suttons Beach Pavilion ended up like that. It was, reasonably ornate. It had character. It had symmetry, as, Art Deco does. It just belonged here, and it just worked.
You were saying earlier that you went there when the restaurant was there. Was it Ollie's or Pimpel? And
yes, I went there under Ollie's reign and Pilpel, and it was a magical place, and it was a romantic place. It was beautiful, and to go there was a real special occasion, something memorable. And we have to think about the Sydney Opera House. To go to the Sydney Opera House is a very special occasion for most people, but that doesn't diminish one iota the value of the structure and the value it adds to the city of Sydney. And I sort of equate that to this pavilion. And so they've gone for a more sort of accessible, commercial model with an ice creamery, cafes by the looks of it, very casual dining. And I think in the process it's going to lose a bit of its magic.
So for me, it's all about creating that space that you want to bring your family to. The structure shouldn't be over-imposing. So I think it's great that they've included shaded areas because, let's face it, Queensland. But those...
I'm feeling it now, and it's the middle of winter.
But that shade they've provided in that looks very structural, very strong. That may well be in line with Art Deco, but for me it's too imposing for the community sense that I think Redcliffe is looking for.
In fact, if you painted those yellow slats grey, you would have, not unlike the Elizabeth Avenue overpass, more prison infrastructure. And so this is the Suttons Beach prison pavilion. It's ugly.
Yeah, so I think softer shading would be nice.
Look, even if they painted those yellow slats white, even that might help.
Yep.
But look, technically, I'm sure the building's great. I'm sure technically it's really accessible. It will tick all the boxes that the architects want ticked. Maybe it's redeemable. Maybe they can alter the design and give it more Art Deco features and let the old Grand Dame that we knew and loved, let her shine through a bit more.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed with the competition. I don't feel it was transparent. We didn't really know what was going on. Was there really community involvement in that competition?
It was decided by a panel of experts.
Okay, experts in what? So not in the community. So the community is the expert in the community. So why did we not have an open forum where people could select their favorite, just like the bottle tops at those restaurants that you get where you can choose your charity. Well, why didn't we get the opportunity to choose our favorite architect to come and design our place for our community on the peninsula?
Well, if you really want the pulse of the community, you just look at the Save Our Suttons Beach Pavilion group, and they amassed massive local support, and their billboards, their argument, what they wanted was restore or replace. It wasn't redesign, give us something completely new. They wanted the old girl saved one way or another, through renovation or reincarnation.
And looking on Facebook community pages on the peninsula at the moment, the feedback that this current design is getting isn't excellent. Let's face it. I mean, that's being polite.
No, it's not excellent.
So
I think 2 people said it was excellent.
Yeah. So 2 out of
100 or something.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, people are not liking it for one reason or the other. But I'd love to hear more from people in the community. What are your thoughts on this new design? Have you seen the new design? If not,
well, they have now.
You should check it out.
And if you have a very strong opinion on the matter, email us, eyeonredcliffe@gmail.com. We'd love to know what you think.
Thanks for tuning in for this special edition of Eye On Redcliffe.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and email us, eyeonredcliffe@gmail.com. And as always, Redcliffe, stay classy, and we'll see you again real soon.